somewhere about this, that this album was actually done the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
So if it was okay, so I just have like 13 follow-up questions to that quickly.
Okay.
Did you go back and switch any songs on the album? Did you add any songs to the album, or did you leave it how it was?
We left it how it was. There
Oh,
were the entire body of bodies was written prior to the lockdown, and the intention was for the record to come out shortly before the lockdown and for us to tour last year. And we take a long time going through everything that we create as a band and paring it down to what we decide is the best album for that moment. And there was no cause for us to go back and change our mind on that. We had spent so much time arranging it. And of course, it was mixed and mastered. So there were practical issues with having to go back if we were inclined, but we weren't inclined. We were very happy with the record. We're still very happy with the record. And at least speaking for myself, it still means as much to me now as it did then. And I've been very, very anxious to have it released out into the world because it means so much to me. It's my favorite AFI record at the time. And so I'm hoping people will enjoy it.
Looking tragic. So when I heard that, I think it was mid-February, late February, it was released. All I wanted to know is the origin of that story. Do you remember like the idea or when that kind of came about?
Certainly. Jade and I were in the Zen room, which is an office in our manager's office that's hidden and is behind a Murakami, and you go through a door and you go upstairs into this beautiful lounge. And David, who is really the best manager, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for him, and Kristen, who is silent on this show right now. They allow us to write up there, and Jade and I were writing, and we were coming from a sort of 60s power pop direction, and the top line that I sang came pretty quickly and the structure came pretty quickly. It was one of those songs that we really didn't struggle to make. And I remember after putting the lyric to it, the melody being stuck in my head. And Adam Mason, our friend who created the Dulceria video, as well as a few Black Audio videos and a few AFI videos that are just gorgeous, he said, "Mate, I hope you take this as a compliment, but this is the best Blur song ever." And I said, "Whoa, I never made that connection, but thank you. We are, of course, Blur fans." And that was where it came from. Not Blur, but I bet Blur and AFI came from the same places. We were writing our songs.
Show me how it's done with less than a fatal rush.
I also have to thank you for putting out a full album. I love the journey from the artwork to the liner notes to the lyrics, and like Twisted Tongues, Far Too Near, and then it ends on Tied to a Tree. Like the journey of the songs, was it very important for you to put out a full album and have the songs individually, but also as the story?
It always has been for us, and that, of course, was a conversation. It has been a conversation for a few years now as to whether or not we continue to put out full records, being that the music world right now doesn't really want full records, as you know, which is why you asked the question. That as far as musical commerce goes and the way that music is consumed, well, the commerce is actually in that respect, I believe, reacting to the public. I mean, generally, people who are listening to music now are happy with one song, are happy with two songs, and don't really require more. But we come from a place of, you and I, it would seem, as well as AFI, where we just grew up listening to these greater stories, whether or not there's a combined narrative, but there's a mood and there's a feel, and it's a journey, as you said. And we still like to create that journey, and we would like to continue to do so as long as we can. I know that when I'm looking at new artists, I get really just excited when I discover new artists. There's an artist I discovered in the past couple of days who I've been listening to, named Tristan, which sounds like a bit of a minimal industrial Paul from Interpol singing. So it's close to that, but it has a little more dance industrial vibe to it. And I looked it up to see to see what he has. And, you know, there's just a couple songs. And that happens to me over and over again, especially being a fan of dance music, which I think really informed this culture. I think this started happening with the second dance explosion in the United States around 2008, 2009. And DJs have historically put out song, because they give them to each other and then they play them at parties. And now they play them at festivals to 200,000 people. But with the rise in popularity of that, I believe it informed the rest of music as going back to the 50s standard of Sun Records and putting out singles. But we put out records. Glad you like it.